Right now at 6, we learn more details about a fatal hit-and-run case in Cherokee County.
We got a couple of stray showers out there, some clouds as we start our day, and then it'll heat up again. Look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, we hear from a Pittsburgh native and now going to school in the area where Hurricane Milton has hit.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
I'm Chris Warner. It is now Thursday, October the 10th.
Yes.
And it's still 2024 for a little bit longer.
Right. And it doesn't feel like October at all, really.
It hasn't really. I mean, we've had
like a
couple of days here and there that feel like October, and then it goes right back to feeling like late August or
the
something.
Second week of October?
Yeah.
It's like unbelievable.
And it's going to continue to be unbelievable, unfortunately. Let's start with this. This is a live look outside from our camera in downtown Pittsburgh, located at 4th and Broadway, and we're looking pretty good. Still a little dark, so you can't see them as well, but I assure you there are some clouds out there. Same view from our camera at 7th and Range Line, looking good this morning. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line. Folks getting their day underway this morning, and we'll head over to the KDOT camera at 69 East 520th Avenue. Also looking pretty good this morning as well. Skywatch Storm Tracker actually has a little bit of something to show us. It's not a lot, but something. We have this shower now to the southeast of Fredonia, a couple of showers west of Howard. We'll go down a little further south, northeast of Sedan, some sprinkles into Chautauqua County. We've had little sprinkles here in the southwestern portions of Bourbon County, and then we've got another little shower just to the west of Burlington. So unfortunately, as you saw, not really a lot out there, and that's really how today will be, but we'll have continued opportunities for isolated showers, maybe a thunderstorm or two as we go through the morning and into the afternoon in the areas highlighted in green here. And that, again, should wrap up. I know Future Track's still showing it through 8. I think in all honesty, though, those chances are going to wrap up by 5, 6 o'clock at the latest, and they're going to be very isolated. Most of us dry today. 59 in Joplin, 56 in Pittsburgh, and across the area, temperatures, some of us like Cassville now, a little below normal, sitting at 49. For the most part, though, oh, look, Fort Scott now, 48 degrees. But for the most part, we're hanging out in the 50s, so relatively close to where we should be. Kids get on the bus, again, stray shower or two, otherwise partly cloudy, low 50s, southeast winds 5 to 10. Those winds continue into the afternoon. Mid 80s and an isolated shower storm out west of 69. And again, that'll be the case west of 69, an opportunity for a stray shower storm, otherwise partly cloudy, hot, dry as we go into the mid to upper 80s. We're going to continue to heat up as we head into the weekend. Then we got a cold front out there. Well, the latest on that and Hurricane Milton here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, Northeast Oklahoma authorities investigate the discovery of a body. The Ottawa County Sheriff's Office confirms the discovery of a man's body near 22nd Northeast at the Tar Creek Bridge. Now, the Grand River Dam Authority has requested assistance from the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation at what they call a suspicious death crime scene. The Miami Police Department is also working the case. We'll bring you more details on this as this story develops on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, unsealed court documents revealed a more clear timeline of the hit-and-run fatality that happened back in August in Cherokee County. Now, Rocco Joseph of Joplin is charged with felony leaving the scene of a fatal crash where a pedestrian, 60-year-old Gary LaTurner of Galena, was killed. Now, Joseph's father, Dr. John H. Joseph, is charged with leaving the scene of a fatality accident and contributing to a child's misconduct or deprivations. The Kansas Highway Patrol obtained search warrants for the cell phones of Joseph and his father. The GPS locations compared with multiple security cameras put the son at the scene of the fatal crash, meeting with his father in Missouri, and then both returning together to observe the Kansas crash scene 40 minutes later. LaTurner's body was found in the south ditch of K66 10 hours after the crash. We have more on the history of this case as well as extensive court documents on our website. Of course, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. The U.S. Supreme Court is grappling with a life or death decision. Yesterday, the justices heard oral arguments regarding an appeal for Richard Glossip. Now, the Oklahoma death row inmate was convicted of arranging the murder of a man in 1997. The high court must determine if state courts should review allegations that prosecutors withheld evidence relevant to the case. The novelty of the case is the fact that both the state and the inmate agreed the conviction should be overturned.
Say what an honor it was to represent the Attorney General in the state of Oklahoma in this case. As the Supreme Court has said on other occasions, it's not every day that an Attorney General confesses error, and I think it's one of the noblest things that a prosecutor can do is to recognize that a prosecution the state has procured cannot stand and that there should be a retrial.
The 61-year-old Glossip has eaten his last meal on death row 3 times. Each of those scheduled executions were stayed. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. One Pittsburgh, Kansas native who attends college in Daytona Beach says she was ordered to evacuate while her mother was visiting there. The duo says they watched as the projected severity of the storm grew. Now they say they got out at just the right time.
The weather just completely shifted and it got really windy and the tide started coming and it almost looked like the ocean was a little angry.
Yeah.
So we went back to our hotel and we had already been watching the weather, but we realized, okay, this is probably like it's time to we went ahead and booked her ticket.
Now, the two say they are frequently checking on their friends still in Florida. While residents of Florida are preparing for Hurricane Milton, people are still recovering from the damage of Helene. Workers with Carthage Water and Electric Plant traveled to Tallahassee to respond to the damage from Helene. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more.
These folks are boots on the ground, immediately responding to the emergency.
Linemen from Carthage Water and Electric Plant in Carthage traveled to Tallahassee before Hurricane Helene hit in anticipation of the damage.
A lot of tall, 80, 100-foot tall pine trees that are down. Obviously, they drag everything down with them.
The linemen's main focus was to help Tallahassee residents regain power.
Through the night, you hear the wind and the rain, you do hear that some. You're a little bit sheltered just because of the hotel you're in or wherever it is you're staying. And then when we woke up the next morning, we had 53,000 people out of power.
CWEP sent 6 linemen to Tallahassee to help out with Helene, and now they have 4 linemen in Orlando to help with Hurricane Milton.
It takes a lot of time for the water in Orlando to dissipate to get to a point where they can actually go in and make some of the needed repairs.
It'd be devastating. Milton looks like it is. It could turn. It just kind of depends on, so they're afraid of water, they're afraid of wind and trees.
Crews from Carthage Water and Electric Plant worked 16-hour days working to restore power to the affected areas. Reporting in Carthage, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
Now, members of the Carthage Water and Electric Plant crew left Missouri on Monday to go to Orlando and help respond to Hurricane Milton. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes, coming up on the KOAM Morning News. The U.S. government is considering to break up Google after Google has violated antitrust laws. Plus, Hurricane Milton weakened overnight after slamming into Florida's west coast as a Category 3 storm. And Chris Warner returns with another look at your Thursday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Well, topping Nation Watch this morning. The Disney Magic is going to cost you more money. Starting Wednesday, fans will start seeing a 6% price increase on Disneyland tickets. A peak season single-day tickets, such as during the late December holidays, increased from $194 to $206. Now, there was also a price increase between 6 to 20% of annual passes for Disney's original resort in California. And the Imagine Magic Key Pass increased $100 to $599. At Disneyland Resort, Magic Key holders can regularly save 20% on multi-passes, but for the first time, they can get half off the day of price during most of January. The U.S. government is weighing the breakup of one of the world's largest and most consequential monopolies, Google. In a court filing Tuesday, the Justice Department said it may recommend separating Google's search business from Android, Chrome, and the Google Play App Store. The DOJ says this would prevent Google from using its search features to advance its products over rivals. Now, in a blog post, Google said the government's potential plan could make the customer experience worse and undermine people's privacy. This comes after a federal judge ruled in August that Google had violated antitrust law with its search business. Now, Google said at the time it planned to appeal the decision. The DOJ's recommendation would also kick off a separate proceeding. With both cases, the entire process could take months or even years to play out. The CIA is struggling with its own Me Too moment as allegations of sexual assault spill into the open. Courts in Northern Virginia and Washington, D.C. have been quietly hearing cases of alleged sexual assault at the spy agency for more than a year now. The cases offer fleeting glances of what multiple officials describe as a deep-rooted cultural problem at the agency. Now, behind the scenes, other allegations continue to plague the agency, including at least one claim that's resulted in an officer being fired. And a stream of female whistleblowers has gone to Capitol Hill recently. They testified behind closed doors to congressional oversight committees about other allegations of sexual assault and harassment at the agency. Well, Hurricane Milton weakened overnight after slamming into Florida's west coast as a Category 3 storm initially. Floridians who didn't evacuate have been advised to hunker down as this still dangerous storm moves around the state. Right now, millions of residents are without power. There are also reports of deaths and injuries after a series of tornadoes ripped through the state yesterday. Christiane Benavides reports from Tampa as the city faces one of the most powerful storms to ever hit the region.
Hurricane Milton came roaring ashore on Florida's west coast overnight, bringing with it life-threatening winds, heavy rains, and dangerous storm surge.
I hear a lot of wind outside.
Bradenton resident Angie Samaro and her family are riding out the storm at home, located outside of the evacuation zone.
We knew that we wanted to stay
Closer to the Gulf Coast in Newport Richey, residents and their pets took shelter in this middle school gym.
We take this stuff serious, and we live in a flood zone.
In the days leading up to the storm, millions were urged to evacuate. Last night, Florida's governor said it's too late for those who did not heed those earlier warnings.
It's too dangerous to evacuate safely, so you have to shelter in place and just hunker down.
Already, there are reports of deaths, injuries, and extensive property damage after tornadoes swept through parts of the state ahead of Milton's arrival. In Tampa, the storm struck here as residents were still cleaning up from Helene and dumped 3 to 5 inches of rain an hour.
We've got your back.
Yesterday, President Joe Biden said the federal government has millions of meals, water, and thousands of personnel on the ground for response. Tropicana Field had been set up as a base for National Guard and emergency workers earlier this week. Last night, strong winds ripped the stadium's roof to shreds. Christiane Benavides, CBS News, Tampa, Florida.
Well, the National Weather Service did warn Florida residents to be prepared for long-duration power outages caused by Hurricane Milton. Already more than 2 million people are without power there, according to the website poweroutage.us. And that's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got a few clouds out there, even a couple of showers in southeastern Kansas, and these will be very isolated, but another shower storm possible today. Another look at your forecast when we come back.
Well, instead of putting the beer down to study, a library in Chicago is teaming up with the Beer Culture Center to create a new fellowship program aimed at learning the history of beer. Dane Placco has more.
Can beer fit into academia?
Absolutely. So beer history is
a growing field right now of scholarly study.
We usually think of beer as something to consume after study, not as the subject of study. But that's changing in a big way.
Beer is a great vehicle to talk about the way it has shaped humanity past and present. So it really touches on a variety of different subjects.
It's history.
It's history.
Politics, culture.
All of the above, economy, crime, you name it.
Liz Garibay of the Beer Culture Center and Elizabeth Neary of the Newberry Library are teaming to create a first-ever academic fellowship to study beer history. The one-month residency at the library is funded with a $3,000 scholarship and is being offered to researchers of color.
We're really excited about it because it is specific to scholars of color, so Black, Indigenous people of color are those who are eligible to apply for the fellowship.
Over the last few years, Chicago's booming craft beer industry has seen a growing number of minorities opening breweries. But when it comes to academic research on beer history...
A few years ago, I formally asked social media if there were any people of color doing research in beer history, and it came up empty. And it kind of stuck with me, so I've been thinking about it ever since.
We are incredible history nerds, and I think beer nerds really should have a home here.
Newberry Library curator Suzanne Carr-Schmidt showed us just a fraction of their archive materials relating to beer, including a German how-to-brew guide from the 1500s, sheet music about beer, and copies of the Western Brewer trade periodical published in Chicago called The Bible of the Beer Business.
We have quite a lot, especially if you think creatively about where to find it. And as Liz was saying, beer really is everywhere through all the ages. And I think whoever gets this fellowship and hopefully subsequent ones will have an amazing time.
And if they can find the funding and support, it could be cheers to a more permanent beer fellowship.
I think one of the beautiful things about the beer community is that we're all kind of just trying to come together and really make some change.
Now let's head over to Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
We got a few clouds out there, even a couple of showers on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. We're going to look at all of that and how hot it's going to get heading into the weekend when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6:23 now on this Thursday morning, starting with Skywatch Storm Tracker, which does have at least a couple of stray showers to show us as we're looking southwest of Erie. So getting ready to come into Parsons, just to your northwest. A few sprinkles southwest of Independence, some east of Iola, a couple of stray sprinkles far southwestern corners of Bourbon County. And then we got a little shower rolling into the Burlington area as well. There's not a lot out there, nor are we expecting much out there today, but a few isolated showers, maybe even a rumble of thunder to be possible primarily along to the west of the US 69 corridor, which we can see on the future tracks. This green zone, it's not a broad area of rain, which is unfortunate, but in this zone is where we could see an isolated shower or thunderstorm. So it'll be very isolated, and the majority of us will simply be dry and hot, but at least a few folks might get a little bit of much needed rain out there. As we head into our Friday, another brief opportunity for maybe a pop-up shower storm west of 69. Otherwise, another hot and dry day. Breezy as well. Southwest winds gusting upwards of 20. We head into our Saturday. Saturday looking to be the hottest day that we're going to see so far this week. Temperatures will eventually climb into the low 90s out there. And while the future track stops at 1 o'clock in the morning, it's the perfect spot to stop because see this wind shift line? That is a cold front coming through very early Sunday. Now, initially, it doesn't have a major impact on our temperatures, but it will bring things down a bit. Here's the latest on Milton. There it is, a lot more disorganized, but still winds pushing 85 miles an hour, making it a Category 1 hurricane as it continues to push off to the east of the Florida Peninsula. We got 59 in Joplin right now. Winds are calm. And just a few clouds here and there. We've got a mixed bag of temperatures so far. Warmer now. Neodesha sitting at 64. And we've got some cool spots out there. Cassville at 48, Anderson at 49. And in between low, mid, and upper 50s across the region to start our Thursday. All right, again, isolated shower or thunderstorm possible in our western counties. Otherwise, partly cloudy, hot, well, not hot yet, but you get the idea. Mid 70s by 11 o'clock. This is where it gets hot, heading into the afternoon. Mid-upper 80s across the area. Even a couple of 90-degree readings will be possible. Isolated shower storm west of 69. Skies will begin to clear. We are mostly clear as we head into the evening. Mid-60s by 10. Overnight lows into the upper 50s and low 60s. Upper 80s again tomorrow. Low 90s on Saturday. Now that cold front coming through, this is what I mean. Initially, it brings us down a little closer to normal. Still kind of warm. Upper 70s, maybe some low 80s. But then overnight, look at that. Low to mid 40s Sunday night and only into the mid 60s on Monday. So a big cool down out there. But like we've seen over the last few weeks, it's short lived. We'll heat back up next week, low mid 80s, and maybe some additional shower and thunderstorm chances toward the end of next week. That's checking your forecast. Now we're going to send it over to Elise with Health Watch.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, researchers say they're getting closer to understanding why some people get long COVID. A study by Brigham and Women's Hospital found long COVID patients are twice as likely to have a specific protein from the COVID virus in their blood. Now, the study authors say if they can identify markers for long COVID, they may one day be able to treat the symptoms with antiviral medications. Well, drinking coffee while pregnant does not cause neurodevelopmental problems in children. That's the findings of a new study from Norway. Now, researchers found that there's no link between caffeine consumption in expectant mothers and the development of the fetal brain. However, they emphasize to follow your doctor's advice about caffeine use because it could influence other aspects of pregnancy. And does eating less lead to a longer life? Well, that's what a study published in Nature shows. Mice that ate fewer calories lived longer than mice put on intermittent fasting diets. Now, the mice with the greatest lifespans were those that ate fewer calories but still maintained a healthy body weight. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 6:30, a candidate for U.S. Senate makes a stop in southwest Missouri.
And we've got a couple of stray showers out there, some clouds and cool temps and warm temps. We'll have a look at that forecast to get you out the door coming up.
Plus, some Cherokee County agencies team up to help provide low-income housing information.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News at 6:30. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Thursday and it is October the 10th.
Yes.
We are into another week of October.
Right.
Not feeling like it at all. It's going to do it again
Not
next
yet.
week, too,
Yep.
unfortunately. But next week is what we were talking about
Sure.
a little while ago with some of the longer range stuff showing slightly better rain chances toward the end
That'd
of
be
next week.
great.
We certainly need some, and unfortunately right now not a lot of widespread rain out there. Looking at our camera downtown Pittsburgh, we're doing all right so far this morning. Still a bit on the dark side, but there are some clouds here and there. Same from our camera at 7th and Range Line in Joplin. We'll head over to the MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line in Joplin. Again, a little eerily quiet, but won't take long for it to be not so eerily quiet. KDOT camera 69 East 520th Avenue, not nearly as quiet as the MoDOT camera, but also looking good otherwise. Skywatch Storm Tracker. Here are a few isolated showers that we've been talking about this morning. So we've got them now just to the northwest of Parsons, southwest of Independence. We got this little guy outside of Elk County, and we have another little shower just to the southeast of Burlington. So not a lot out there, and we're not anticipating much, but an isolated shower, maybe even a thunderstorm will be possible as we go through the morning and into the afternoon, mainly west of 69. And in this green highlighted area, that's where the opportunity for an isolated shower or storm will be as we head through the afternoon into the early evening hours. But the majority of us, unfortunately, will remain dry. And as you saw in the Skywatch Storm Tracker, we're not expecting any significant kind of development with this activity either, unfortunately. We're sitting at 59 in Joplin, 55 in Pittsburgh, and temperatures around the region. We got some folks a little below normal. Anderson, Cassville, for example, into the upper 40s, and we got others well above normal to start the day. 64 in Neodesha as an example, 62 Parsons, and in between all of that, a mix of low, mid, and upper 50s. Kids getting on the bus this morning, we are looking at, again, an opportunity for an isolated shower or two out west, otherwise partly cloudy, 53. Southeast wind 5 to 10. Be about the mid 80s this afternoon. Again, maybe an isolated storm or two out west. Southeast breeze continuing at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Partly cloudy, even some mostly clear skies. The partly cloudy skies will be confined mainly where the opportunity for a shower or storm will be. Those chances will wrap up a little later this evening. Our highs today into the mid to upper 80s, maybe even a couple of 90-degree readings out there as well. We're going to continue to heat up. In fact, Saturday looking to be our hottest day this week. We'll have details on that and the latest on Milton here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll see you soon, Chris. Well, a candidate for the U.S. Senate made a stop in southwest Missouri last night. Lucas Kunze hosted a rally at VFW Post 534 in Joplin. Now, the 13-year Marine veteran is running for the Senate seat currently held by Josh Hawley. At the event, Kunze talked about his platform of running for everyday Missourians.
The biggest thing on me in this campaign is that the only people I want to owe are everyday Missourians like those in that old neighborhood. So I take no money from corporate PACs, no money from federal lobbyists, no money from big pharma executives, none of these people who've been buying off our, weak-minded, ambitious, hungry politicians and using them to strip our communities for parts.
After 3 deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan, Lucas was stationed at the Pentagon where he served on the Joint Staff. Last month, we told you about 13-year-old Joplin teen Drake May and the art club he helped create for other kids. Well, yesterday, Drake and members of the art club took a field trip to the Joplin Humane Society. Now, the group got to see how the JHS operates, where the animals stay, and found out how to volunteer.
Little tour to see if their animal got adopted, and hopefully they did. But if not, they are going to put a copy of their artwork with the animal. So if they do get adopted, hopefully, then they get to take the artwork home with them as well. The new owners get to take the artwork home.
Now, the trip comes as a follow-up to last week's class where the kids practiced pet portraits. Also, Cherokee County groups team up to assist people in need of low-income housing. The Cherokee County Health Department and the USDA Rural Development Program will host an event next Tuesday on how to fill out applications for Section 502 and 504 housing. Event organizers hope to also provide information on the financial impacts of low-income housing and on low-income energy assistance.
But it's best to go through one of the representatives from one of the different offices through HUD. And with that said, that is why we are hosting this meeting, so that individuals can become aware of what the programs are, and they can come and they can ask questions for the various representatives.
The event will be held at the Crossroads Christian Church on October 15th at 2 p.m. Well, the Wood Farm Pumpkin Patch is celebrating 19 years this year, and age doesn't matter as there's something for everyone to do when you visit. A few new additions include a kiddie carnival ride for little kids and rat rollers for the older kids.
Biggest challenge is always Mother Nature. Heat and drought, especially this will be the 3rd year of an extreme and even 1 year of an exceptional drought. Trying to grow pumpkins or a crop like a corn maze, a Sudan grass maze, or even sunflowers like I attempted this year, she always just throws a big wrench in our plans.
Wood Farm's Pumpkin Patch is open every weekend from now until October 27th from noon to 6 p.m. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A new program in Oregon is teaching students some practical skills they'll be able to use for the rest of their lives. And we have a warm and sunny day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. On Consumer Watch this morning, a final exam for students at an Oregon high school is given in the field instead of a classroom. A new program teaching students practical skills put them to the test to show off their skills building a tiny house. Spencer Sketch takes us to see their final project in Portland.
That's so stinking good. It's beautiful.
Last year at this time, this house was just a trailer bed.
Yeah, then we just started working on it, putting
putting wood studs down.
Mateo Shannon graduated from Jefferson High School in 2024, and his last school project was finishing this tiny home.
It got very close to deadlines, and then, some kids stayed after school.
This is a first of its kind project for Jefferson. The new Career Technical Education program was fully funded by Anderson Construction and led by one of their superintendents.
Mateo and a lot of the other guys on the inside too as well. The seniors were the ones that really upped it up at the end to helping to get the inside done. It was really great.
Like any new program, there were some bumps in the road.
I don't know how many screws. We probably broke 5 boxes of screws trying to get those screws in too. It takes a little bit to learn. It's okay, guys. That's what you guys are here for, learning.
Students worked on every aspect of this house, from the floorboards to the cabinets and everything that goes in between the walls.
They just had me doing a lot of insulating, and other people doing stuff in the bathroom. They'd be doing the little bit of plumbing or a little bit of the painting on the outside.
The students even picked out the paint, and of course, they went with Jefferson's colors.
The whole thing just popped with the white and the black and the blue. It came out really beautiful.
And the students came out with some great life skills.
Like at home, just a few weeks ago, I changed the light switch. That I learned how to do here building the tiny home. So it was cool. I was like, hey, Dad, I just fixed this light switch. I was like.
Well, Honda is recalling nearly 1.7 million vehicles, including some Acura models, due to a steering issue. The car maker says manufacturing flaws in the steering gearbox, worm wheel, and spring load could cause the vehicles to become hard to steer, which could increase the risk of a crash or injury. The recall statement says abnormal noise and a sticky feeling while driving are symptoms of the issue. Impacted Honda owners will receive a notification to take their cars to a dealership for a free repair. Well, Oklahoma-based meat company Bruce Pack is recalling nearly 10 million pounds of ready-to-eat meat and poultry products due to possible Listeria contamination. Now, the USDA said the issue was discovered after routine tests came back positive for the bacteria. The recalled products were shipped nationwide, and the USDA says there have been no reports of adverse reactions as of yet. The recalled products should be thrown away or returned to the place of purchase. And from haunts to happy holidays, Spirit Halloween is planning to convert some of its locations into Spirit Christmas stores after October 31st. Now, the pop-up store will offer holiday apparel, decorations, gifts, and meet and greets with Santa Claus, which can be booked online. And that's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, we're going to start with a quick look outside from our camera downtown Pittsburgh. Now we're getting a little more light out. You can kind of see some of the clouds we've been talking about this morning. Our camera 7th and range line still kind of dark, but again, you barely see the outline, but there are a few clouds here and there. MoDOT camera 20th and range line. A few more folks on the road now than there were even just about 10 minutes ago. And we'll head over to the KDOT camera 69 East 520th Avenue just south of Pittsburgh, looking good as well. Let's take a quick look at Skywatch Storm Tracker. We have a few showers out there. Yeah, I know. I choked on something. I saw you laughing. Yeah. I don't know what that was. It's Cheez-Its again. But we do have a few showers out there, so we're going to drag this back down. I saw her face. One getting ready to roll into Parsons, another one southwest of Independence. Going to pass probably just on the west side of Coffeyville. Not much out there, nor are we expecting there to be much out there. But west of the 69 corridor, we have an opportunity. In fact, it's going to be pretty far west for at least an isolated shower storm through the morning and into the afternoon in this green highlighted area here on the future track. That's where, again, we could see an isolated shower or storm. So not much, but something at this point is better than nothing. Quick look at temperatures warming up a bit. 59 in Joplin, 55 in Pittsburgh, and across the area we do have some cool spots still. 48 Anderson, Miami, Grove, and Cassville. And then outside of that, the warm spot, Neodesha, sitting at 64, and we've got the 50s in between. Kids getting on the bus this morning. Again, isolated shower or two, otherwise partly cloudy. Low 50s, southeast wind 5 to 10. When that bus brings them back home, mid 80s, maybe an isolated shower storm out west, and southeast winds continue at 5 to 10. We have another look at your forecast as well as birthdays and anniversaries here in just a moment. But first, here's what's happening on CBS Mornings.
I'm Nate Burleson. Coming up on CBS Mornings, award-winning actor and comedian Rachel Bloom joins us to discuss her one-woman show. And Anthony Mason talks with Cage the Elephant frontman Matt Schultz about overcoming mental health issues to create new music. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
All right, time for some Thursday birthdays here in the 4 states. We're going to start in Girard with Hunter Cobb, celebrating birthday number 6. Says it's come with love from Mom, Dad, Celia, Grandma, and Papa Richard.
And a happy 7th birthday to Cora High in Webb City.
And as we head over to this guy, Reed Bungie, celebrating birthday number 11. Oh, I apologize. This young lady here celebrating birthday number 11. This is what happens when I don't look up. Happy birthday.
And over in Fort Scott, a happy 14th birthday to Rush Newton.
And we've got Randy and Amy Black celebrating their 26th anniversary in Carthage.
And over in Columbus, a happy birthday to Paul Morris. It says here, love you, the family, friends, and the church family.
And then our very own Samantha Walker celebrating another year wiser today. One of our reporters out there capturing many of the stories of the 4 states. Samantha, very happy birthday.
And continuing our birthday list with Kathy Cole over in Pittsburgh. Happy birthday.
And Kelly Krimzik in Frontenac celebrating another year wiser. Happy birthday.
And happy birthday to Hayden Pyle, also in Frontenac.
All right, another great list of birthdays and anniversaries.
Yes.
And if you'd like to celebrate with us, Elise, what should they do?
Yes, go ahead and submit those birthdays and anniversaries to birthdays at KOAMnewsnow.com. Be sure to include those photos and messages and to, of course, meet the deadline that you see there at the bottom of your screen.
Absolutely essential to meet that deadline that you see there. All right, let's start with the Skywatch Storm Tracker. We've got a few showers out there, parts of the viewing area. So let's zoom in to where we've got these. So we've got one little one southwest of Nowata. We've got them across Montgomery County, isolated, but they're nonetheless just getting ready to roll into parts of Coffeyville. Got a light shower around Parsons. That's really about it, unfortunately. And we're not really expecting too much in terms of rain chances, but west of 69 across parts of Kansas and Oklahoma could see an isolated shower or storm as we go through the morning and into the late afternoon and early evening hours. And that is on the future track. That's what this green highlighted area here is. Unfortunately, it's not a broad area of rain, which is what we do need. It is an opportunity, though, for a shower or storm as we head into the afternoon, late evening hours. And I think after about 6, those chances are pretty much done. And we'll have mostly clear skies overnight tonight. Then, as you saw, did appear briefly in Delaware County, but tomorrow we'll have that same opportunity, only a slightly lesser chance of a shower or storm in our western counties. But even tomorrow, it's a lesser chance than we have today out there. We're also going to start to be breezy tomorrow. Winds picking up out of the south-southwest, gusting occasionally upwards of 20 miles an hour. And as we head into our Saturday looking to be probably the hottest day we've had so far this week. Should be the hottest day we have, period. We're looking at mostly cloudy skies, though, as we kick off Saturday, but those clouds will clear, and that's when we'll start to see temperatures rising across the area ahead of a cold front. Now, the future track only goes so many days out, at least this one does, and it stops at Sunday at 1 a.m., but you see that wind shift line? We got a boundary coming through Sunday, cold front that's going to come through later Sunday, and it's going to actually give us an opportunity to have some fall-like temperatures once again, and it's almost like clockwork. Beginning of the month, we had a cold front come through from Monday into Tuesday, so from September into October, brought us down briefly to fall-like temperatures. Last week, Sunday into Monday, cold front came through. No rain with it, but it brought us back to fall-like temperatures briefly. And the same thing's happening again as we head into this weekend. Another cold front that's going to pass through, bring us briefly to fall-like temperatures, and then we turn around and start to get hot again. So here's the latest on Hurricane Milton, beginning to move on off of the Florida Peninsula, of course making landfall as a strong Category 3 storm. It's just south of the Tampa Bay area around Siesta Key. And it continues to push off to the northeast. Still a Category 1 hurricane, winds at 85 miles an hour. And there's tropical storm warnings up the Georgia and South Carolina coast as well, because you can see how far Milton spreads out there. And of course continue to push on off to the east out into the Atlantic. But again, a devastating situation for some of those folks in Florida. Quick look at temperatures. You can see some of the clouds there. Our camera 7th and range line, 59 in Joplin. And around the area, we have a mixed bag of temperatures. We got some cooler ones into the upper 40s, and then we've got other locations like Neodesha into the low 60s already. We're going to start the day roughly in the mid-50s. Again, isolated shower storm possible out west. Most of us dry, partly cloudy, mid-70s by 11 o'clock this morning. We'll have another look at your forecast and the news you need to know. And when we switch over to Fox 14 at 7 a.m., we're going to hear why a group of students is sending a message across the ocean.
Well, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Northeast Oklahoma authorities are investigating the discovery of a body. The Ottawa County Sheriff's Office confirms the discovery of a man's body near 22nd Northeast at the Tar Creek Bridge. Now, the Grand River Dam Authority has requested assistance from the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation and the Miami Police at what they call a suspicious death crime scene. Well, unsealed court documents reveal a clear timeline of a hit-and-run fatality back in August in Cherokee County. Rocco Joseph of Joplin is charged with felony of leaving the scene of a fatal crash where a pedestrian, 60-year-old Gary LaTurner of Galena, was killed. Joseph's father, Dr. John H. Joseph, is charged with leaving the scene of a fatality accident and contributing to a child's misconduct or deprivations. LaTurner's body was found in the south ditch of K66 10 hours after the crash. And the U.S. Supreme Court heard oral arguments regarding an appeal for Richard Glossip. Now, Glossip was convicted of arranging the murder of a man in 1997. The High Court must determine if state courts should review allegations that prosecutors withheld evidence relevant to the case. The novelty of the case is the fact that both the state and the inmate agree the conviction should be overturned. And that's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
And as you head out the door, some of us pretty cool, some of us a little warmer, and we will be hot today, upper 80s, partly cloudy skies. And again, our western counties may be an isolated shower or thunderstorm. Those chances wrap up this evening, mid-60s by 10, lows back to right around 60. Hot again tomorrow and an even slighter chance of a stray shower or storm, upper 80s, low 90s Saturday. Cold front Sunday brings us down to the mid-60s by Monday. We'll feel very fall-like, but briefly. Then we'll see additional showers and storms possible by the end of next week.
Alrighty. Well, coming up today at noon, we're making Ben's chili dog in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, Dustin Luno from the Joplin Fire Department joins us in the studio to talk about candle safety.
And of course, it is election season, and hopefully you'll take an opportunity to vote for Pedro. Because Efren Ramirez will be joining us in the studio ahead of a screening of the movie Napoleon Dynamite later tonight.
Yes.
That's going to wrap it up for us for now, though. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.